Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
My name's Joe. Many years ago I was a domiciliary carer in Cambridge. I'd never done care work before. And I went to work for an agency. And on my second day there, the second day of shadowing I should say, so I wasn't actually even really employed at that point. Criminal record check hadn't been done, anything like that. I witnessed a lady who, once we'd escorted this man into a bathroom to help get him washed, she'd turned the shower onto the hottest setting she possibly could, and then took the shower head and was spraying him in the face. And she would spray him in the face so he would scream. She would take the shower head away and laugh. And then she would do it again. And then she would take it away, and then after that she took her hand, stuck the middle finger right in his face and said, "Fuck you, fuck you." At this point I took the shower head off her and we left. And just to put it in context, at the time I didn't know anything about care, so I didn't know about CQC or any sort of whistleblowing procedure or anything like that, so I went to talk to my supervisor. My supervisor listened to me and thanked me for raising concerns, and as soon, well, I'd say it was actually the next day I got a phone call from the carer I was with, who I'd reported, asking her why I would report her, why I would raise anything against her. She thought we were friends. It pretty much carried on like that. So I ended up contacting the council, and thankfully another client I worked with for that care agency used to be a carer, and between me and her, she went to the council as well, and she said she had very negative things to say about this care agency that was looking after her mother, who we were going to see. And there was just a general lack of giving a shit, to put it quite frankly. This woman I was with would turn up at people's homes, and she would go and sit in the toilet and eat Mars bar until the 15-minute visit was up, then basically see that they were alive, and then she'd leave. Because when I used to stay with people, they used to tell me the other things carers were doing, and that was the kind of behaviour that was sort of, well, it was happening. Yeah. It was happening to everyone. So anyway, what happened was that social services and the council got involved, and it was discovered that the CQC didn't even know about this care agency, so it was operating without a license in the first place, which it doesn't count for much, but even if you've got some sort of rule you should probably follow it, and these guys just weren't. It turned out they actually had a license to operate for their London branch but did not for their Cambridge one. So they were closed down, and they were absorbed by a much bigger care agency. The woman I'd made complaints against, I went and saw the managers of the new care agency, and I said, look, this lady did this. She is constantly rude and aggressive to this particular gentleman. Here's this instance that I've seen. I can't tell you any more because, interestingly enough, after I'd reported that to the supervisor, I never worked with her again, so we were never paired up, so I don't know what she got up to. They said they were going to handle it and that they were in contact with social services. So I thought, great. Oh, excellent. Something's going to happen. And while I was working for this agency, another lady, who funnily enough had come from the recently disbanded agency, had tried to feed a client varnish on toast. And it was a woman that I saw on a different day to her. So I went in, and she told me about it, because she's got all of her faculties, she knows what's going on, she's not got dementia, it's not anything like that. She said she tried to feed me varnish on toast, and I was stunned. So I went back to my managers again, and I said, this woman, she needs to be suspended immediately. And they said, we're going to pull you in for disciplinary. And I thought, what? Hang on, what? Why are you pulling me in for disciplinary? They said, you've breached confidentiality. So I looked it up, and I said, you can make a disclosure in the public interest, and if someone's feeding someone varnish on toast, I think they're probably quite a threat to people around them. But they pulled me in anyway, went through the disciplinary procedure, and they tried to tell me it was just a mistake, an honest mistake. and they won't go do anything about it. And my only reply to them was, well, you can't look at it as an isolated incident, because if she tries to feed someone varnish on toast, who's to say she's not going to wash someone's hair with bleach or any other dangerous chemical? It's at that point that I'd had enough. I was going to get. It was looking like I was going to get fired anyway, so I quit ahead of time. Meanwhile, though, with the first incident regarding the man in the shower, there was a police officer who was actually helping me with the case against her.
Good.
And she did eventually get prosecuted, but that took 2 years for it to go to court. Now, it felt like a very hollow victory, because on the flip side of it, from the flip side of bad care, there is also the care workers. The first agency was staffed mainly by Nigerians. Okay. There was a lot of Nigerian women there, and the supervisor was a Nigerian male. Mm-hmm. And there was a lady I worked with that was telling me that in exchange for hours at the care agency, because of visa troubles, this supervisor was exchanging sexual favours for work. Now, this is something I tried to mention to the police and also to the barrister who was representing, I suppose, my side of things in court, but they told me not to mention it because it would diminish the case that they did have, which is just ridiculous, because it's part of a broader problem. It's all connected. It's not separate.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, because this lady, she was trying to pay medical bills for her family member, she did not end up helping me. Her original intent was to get statements from the women, because I could see her reasoning was that she was from the same place they were, and she was a lady, and it's a very sensitive subject. Whereas if me, a white male, was to go in and try and start asking, have you been raped recently, it's probably not going to be a great thing. So she said she would get the statements from the ladies, talk to them, and bring them on side. And none of that happened, simply because she was going to lose her job if she spoke out against what was happening. So, like I say, once we finally got to court, after 2 years, this barrister and the policewoman said, well, the policewoman in particular, she said, this is my last case. So, you know, I'm going to get this done, and she was moving off to a different unit, so she wasn't even going to do social care or anything like that anymore. And they said, please. They said, essentially, don't mention anything to do with these allegations of sexual assault. Don't mention anything else apart from this one bad care incident. None of the other stuff that you've seen. Mention none of it. And that was the end of it. Those people are still working there today.
Incredible.
And the thing is, the barrister came out, the police came out, and they shook me by the hand, and they said, great, we've won a victory here today. And I couldn't see it. I couldn't see how that was the case, that one person has been prosecuted because of one act, when a whole agency is rife with problems. But they're not interested in hearing about that. It was more simple to just prosecute the one person and then just move on and forget about it.
Okay.
And that was. I moved to. That was about 1.5 years ago.
Thank you.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.